Hello everyone, this is an update video on the Roadrunner Pro. So I've ridden the Roadrunner Pro a few times now, and I'm just going to let you know my first impressions of the scooter, my experience with the scooter so far, what I would like to see differently on future models or as upgrades for this model, and so basically what I like, what I don't like, and do I recommend the scooter overall. So let's start with that. Do I recommend the scooter? Who do I recommend this for? If you like sitting down, I 100% recommend this scooter. It's very comfortable. I did notice that the rear suspension, I weigh 180 pounds approximately. The rear suspension will bottom out, but it's not really bad. Like usually it just kind of floats. It's like, floating along the path here when I'm riding the scooter. I know it looks like a motorcycle, but I think they call it a scooter because it's so light. It doesn't have pedals, and I don't remember all the reasons it's called a scooter, but they refer to this as a scooter. I think motorcycles are much, much heavier. This is electric. It has the motors in the wheels, which is really nice. My research and study indicate, and please confirm this for yourself, but this scooter is completely over-engineered. Meaning the motors, they say 2,000 watt motors on them, but they actually can handle, if I understand correctly, can handle double that power, and I mean continuous. The controller is, the battery is a 66 volts, fully charged battery, but my understanding of the controller, and again, confirm this for yourself, over-engineered. The controller can handle 120 volts continuous, if I understand correctly. You'll have to confirm that for yourself, but my research and study indicate this information to be correct, and I'm actually considering testing that by running a higher voltage system in there. If the controller really can handle 120 volts, I can program the computer to the correct voltage. So if I want to go higher in voltage, like I'm thinking of going with 72 volts nominal, which is 84 volts fully charged, and I would program the settings by entering the passcode 6969. That lets us enter the advanced settings on the newer Roadrunner Pros. That's the newer models. I think the older models have a different passcode, and I don't know the other differences between the two, the newer versions and the older versions. If I say it that way, I may not even be using the correct words if they call them older versions or newer versions. I just know that the latest ones can have that passcode, and I can program the voltage into the display that I want to use. And my understanding is that controller can handle up to 120 volts continuous voltage. So what I like about that is that higher voltage is just, to me, my research and study indicate more efficient, better responsiveness, lower amps per the same load, right? If we put the equal load on two scooters, one is a lower voltage and one's a higher voltage, and you put the exact same load on it, the one with the higher voltage will just produce less heat, less waste heat, less current, less amperage, right? Amperage is resistance. Amperage, we don't want amps, right? We don't want high amperage. That's my thoughts. We want high voltage, because high voltage means we get to deliver more of the power to the ground, right? That's my understanding of it. That's the way I understand it, and that's the way I explain it, because that's how I understand it. The scooter is an absolute joy to ride. The headlight is very functional, meaning it's very bright, which is good. I don't know if it's as bright as the Wolf King GTR and Wolf King GT Pro, which have my absolute favorite headlight so far. That said, I haven't tested all the newest model scooters, but I know I like to be able to see really far ahead. When you have a scooter that can go 50 miles an hour, 60 miles an hour, 70 miles an hour, right? A lot of the scooters can do this now, even 80 miles an hour. Voro Motors has the Roadster, right? 80 mile per hour scooter. That headlight needs to be powerful enough. It needs two settings. It needs a low and a high, right? But if you only have one setting, it has to at least have high, because you have to be able to see ahead of you far enough so that if you're going 50 miles an hour, 60 miles an hour, 70 miles an hour, and 80 miles an hour, that you can see what's in front of you. You have to be able to see that. But even going 25, 30 miles an hour, just cruising along, at nighttime, if you don't have a good headlight, it can be very difficult to see ahead. I've never had any trouble with this headlight. In my riding so far, I can see very well at nighttime, so I did a great job on the power of that headlight. I was able to straighten out the headlight by loosening these screws, and I was able to adjust it this way, not just up and down, but it was kind of off-centered this way, and I was able to move it so it's centered now. That's just the personal preference for mine. Before the light was slightly off to the side, but because the angle of view is so wide, it wasn't even noticeable. So you don't even need to do that if you don't want to. You can just, yours might actually come perfectly centered. That could have just happened while it was packaged in the box, which, by the way, when I unbox this, it is packaged very, very well. I cannot say enough about the packaging. Great work on packaging this scooter. I added the bell. I always add a bell to my scooters. This is the Spur Cycle bell, which has a lifetime warranty. And it's the Spur Cycle bell with warranty. And I have many of those. I just bought a bunch of those from the local bike shop in Pasadena at, I think it's called Velo Pasadena. They sell them there. And I'm sure you can also buy them online. Let's see. So, yes, I think one upgrade that needs to be done on the scooter. Well, the first thing I did before I ever even rode the scooter. And if you go to, I think the gentleman's name is Paul at, am I going to remember the name of the YouTube channel? I think it used to be Electric Scooter Guide, and now it's called, it might be called Rider Guide now. I'm so bad with names and channel names. But Paul mentioned cutting 2 inches off of the handlebars on each side right away. And when I measured that and saw that that was going to get me right to the handlebar length of one of my favorite scooters to ride, which is the Segway GT1 and Segway GT2, at 27 inches, that's what those are at. This comes at 31 inches length, and I cut 2 inches off each side, which brought me down to 27 inches. And I like it perfectly there. That's the perfect length at 27. So let's double check that just to be sure that I'm getting all my numbers correctly. We're going to double check that. Yes, we're right at, it looks like I'm at 27 and approximately 1/4 of an inch, as you can see there. Okay, 27 and 1/4 of an inch when you include the end caps, right? So, and that's a perfect length. Now, if you have room, see, I couldn't even get through the door because my door doesn't open all the way. See here? Now, if you have the space and you like the long handlebars, you can just leave them. I just need to be able to get through my door easier. I need to be able to ride. Sometimes I ride on sidewalks at a very low speed, meaning I never pass someone at faster than a walking speed. I don't pass someone at a running speed. I don't fly by people on the sidewalk, and I recommend to people to always be courteous to passing people when you're riding your scooter on the sidewalk or anywhere, and ding the bell well before getting to people, well before that. Okay, it's very important to be courteous while riding your scooters, whatever they may be. Okay, whether it be the stand-up scooters or the sit-down scooters. And so by having the shorter handlebar length as well allows it to be easier for me to squeeze through especially like construction areas, when there's a sidewalk that has construction being built on that property, they'll have the scaffolding around the sidewalk, and those bars that stick out. I was riding a scooter one day, it was a Wolf King GT Pro that had the really long handlebars, and it caught that bar sticking out, and I went flying off the scooter, sliding down the sidewalk. So after that, I thought, well, I think I'm going to start shortening my handlebars, and just being a lot more careful too. So going back to the Roadrunner Pro, what I would really like to see on this, and I was surprised that it doesn't have it yet, and I wouldn't be surprised if this wasn't something that they're already doing right away, but I hope if they haven't done it yet, that this can be done right away, which is we need the self-sealing, self-healing tires. My Dualtrons all have that. I have the Dualtron Storm Limited here. I have the Dualtron Thunder 2 here. I had a Wolf King GTR, which had the self-sealing, self-healing tires. The Wolf King GT Pro had the self-sealing, self-healing tires. And the self-sealing, self-healing tire is an adhesive, I'll call it, that doesn't dry, but it's not a liquid, and it's thick. It's like a 1/2 inch thick, and it's a liner that lines the inside of the tire. Now, ideally, that liner, I think, would go on the sides as well, but right now they tend to just put it on the bottom, right? I mean, on the outer area of the wheel where it touches the road, right? This whole area here. That's how they put it on these tires. Segway was the first company I noticed doing that. They were doing this a long time ago. And now everyone else is following that. I'm going to say it that way because that's how I understand it. And if I'm wrong in that, please clarify that by making videos and sharing who was the first to offer the self-sealing, self-healing tires. But I think Segway did it with the Max. I think it's called the 9-bot Max scooter line. And now it's like very common for companies to offer that because no one wants a flat tire. And the self-sealing, self-healing tire, if you get a puncture, let's say you get a nail in there, I could stick 100 nails in this tire and pull them all out and not lose 1 pound of air. That's the self-sealing, self-healing tire, right? As long as I did it away, like a space away from there, right? Leave a little space between there. If I do it, you can't do it in one spot. It'll make the hole too big. But usually when you pick up things on the road, it's in different areas of the tire. I've pulled out probably 30 nails and screws over the past 2 years of self-sealing, self-healing tires, and not once had to do anything other than just pull the nail out or unscrew the screw. I really don't like using the plugs. So self-sealing, self-healing tires are tubeless tires. So these come with tubeless tires. Self-sealing, self-healing tires are also tubeless. The difference is if you don't have self-sealing, self-healing adhesive in there, I'll call it, that technology I'm calling it, then if you get a nail or something and you pull that out, it's going to leak, right? And it may even leak while the nail's in there. If you have the self-sealing, self-healing material in there, I'll call it, that just closes up right behind the hole. It just closes up. And I mean, it's such a great thing, and I really hope that someone can offer, and I hope the company starts offering it for this scooter, for the Roadrunner Pro, the self-sealing, self-healing tires. I would buy those right away and put those on here, and I hope they start offering it on the scooter and at least offering it as an option to purchase. I really hope that can be the case. Sadly, a lot of people getting their first scooter do not know about the no flat tire technology, right? They don't know about it. Dualtron, Mini Motors USA, they put the sticker right there to say no flat tire. You see that saying no flat tire? That's on the Dualtron Storm. So they don't have to write out not self-sealing, self-healing tire. They just say no flat tire. Everyone understands no flat tire, right? This scooter has it too. Do you see that there? No flat tire. And it's true. I haven't had one flat tire on these scooters, and I've had, many nail and screw punctures. Now with this scooter, if I get a nail in there, I have to pull the nail out, and then I have to plug it with the plug kit, which I carry in here, right? So instead of carrying like water and snacks in there, I have this big kit I have in there. I don't want to carry that. I would prefer not to have to carry that. And I don't think people should have to carry a kit. They can as an emergency, but I feel that the self-sealing, self-healing technology is really looking out for the customer and protecting their ride and their joy of riding. It protects the customer. Not all customers know, and I would say most people getting into to scooters in the beginning are not going to necessarily know the difference between all the different ads of everyone promoting their tires, right? I've tried many of the different tires, and I know there's tires that are good that resist getting punctured, but I haven't experienced anything better than the self-sealing, self-healing technology myself for the price. And that's something, and I've been going on and on about this. I think it's very important. I don't think enough can be said about it. Self-sealing, self-healing tires, it's something that I think this scooter could benefit from, and it would help customers to not get flat tires and to not have to bother with the plugging process and having to carry a plug kit if they get a nail or a screw in their tires on this scooter, because this scooter does not presently come with self-sealing, self-healing tires. They did make it easy to change the tire, which is nice. My front tire is leaking air, and I need to find out what to do about that because I do not like using liquids. I'm not going to put a liquid in there to seal that. So I need to find out what to do about that. It leaks very slow. I don't know how many pounds a day it leaks. Maybe, is it 1 PSI each day? It's a very slow leak. And I've read and heard of people having these split rims leaking, but I thought that was solved already. So I need to look into that myself. But I noticed that if the scooter sits for, let's say, a week, I'll have to pump the tire back up. It won't be completely flat, but it will be low. And it's really important to always check tire pressure before riding any of your scooters. You never want to ride with low tire pressure because it's dangerous. So the back tire holds perfectly though, and these are both the split rims, which just split and have a seal in there, I think they have like a gasket or a large O-ring, maybe we call it. I'm not sure what word they use to describe that, but it allows the rim to seal. What I was thinking of doing on the front rim is I have this I'll show you here. It's called bead sealer. Extra seal. I used this on the and this is the large one. I got the biggest one I could find. It's the 32 ounce, and it's an industrial size, I think they call it. I used that on the Dualtron Thunder 2 front wheel when I put a new wheel on it, and I learned that I had to use a lot of it to make it work. And what it did was I used a lot of it to seal the rim to seal the tire against the rim on the Dualtron Thunder 2, and then I was able to literally just pump it up with a regular pump at the gas station, just a regular one, which was nice because sealing a tubeless tire against the rim can be a challenge. But that sealer, that bead sealer, when used generously, I put 2 very thick coats on it. I went around the rim twice. Cameron and I did it together, my friend Cameron. I squeezed the tire, and he painted the tire and the rim twice. We went around 2 times. And when we did each side of the wheel, when we pumped it up, it pumped up right away with no trouble at all. So I'm thinking of using that on this. I don't really want to take a brand new scooter all apart that doesn't have any nails in it. I'm not looking forward to taking that wheel off and putting that sealer in there to seal the wheel on a brand new scooter. That's why I'm probably going to call the company I bought this from first, which is Voro Motors, and ask them what they suggest, what they recommend. Like I said, I do not plan to put liquid in there because I don't like the messy liquids in there. So I'll keep you guys updated on that. But like I said, it doesn't leak fast. It's a slow leak. And I really like that the rims make it easy to change the tires. And I hope that the self-sealing tire technology is something that becomes available soon, because I just am so comfortable riding any scooter that has that technology on it, knowing that if I get a puncture, I can just pull it out and it's not going to leak at all. So be sure to ask for self-healing tires for this scooter and for any scooter that you buy, because it's a good technology. The next best thing is just the honeycomb solid tires, which don't go flat. I mean, to me, the next best thing is, in my experience, is the honeycomb tires, which have a give. They have a flexibility to them, and they're a solid rubber tire, but they have cutouts inside, which let them to be flexible, right? So we don't want ever get a flat tire. We want to minimize any possibility of getting a flat tire on any scooter. That's very important. None of us want to walk home and have to walk many miles to get home, right, if we get a flat. Okay, so what else? The seat is comfortable. It's really improved from past models where it was much thinner. I am used to these seats, which are the YLG extra wide seat. This is like 13 inch, I think, at least 13 inch. And if you see how much area this is, how much support this has, I'm used to that on the bicycle. And I was imagining, how could I have that kind of seat on here, but with this softness, because this is actually more soft. That is a thought I had, but with that said, I have ridden this many miles, and it's still okay. It's still comfortable to me, but I'm always thinking, how can something be improved? So it is comfortable, it is soft, but I'm still thinking, how can I improve it even more? So I may be able to have someone that does custom work on seats, maybe to put like that seat I just showed you, the YLG seat, maybe put it here and one here, and then have it kind of built into this somehow, and then maybe adding some memory foam on top of it as well. That's just a thought. I like to do thought experiments, so I may just leave the scooter as it is though, because it actually is comfortable and it looks nice this way. But what's most important is the comfort, right? It has to be comfortable and functional, right? Something I personally did, and you don't have to do this, but I did it myself. I like the handlebars to be close to me. So if you notice here, again, I did this right away before riding the scooter. Now I test rode the scooter at Voro Motors. I test rode it first, and it was perfect the way it was. I did notice the test model, when I hit a bump, when the suspension fully extended, I would hear like a clanking sound or a metal sound, and I, like a bushing was not correct on that, or something was wrong with that one. And I thought to myself, I want to buy this scooter, but I really hope the one I buy doesn't do that. And sure enough, when I ride the scooter, the suspension is completely smooth in the front, and when it's fully extended, when it fully extends, when I go over a bump, and it goes up over the bump, and it fully extends, it doesn't make any noise here. It's perfectly smooth. So whatever bushing is supposed to be there is there and working perfectly. And that test model at Voro Motors in Panorama City, California, if you test rode that scooter and you felt it clanking when it fully extended, my experience is that the new scooter that you buy will not have that trouble. So I don't know why that one's doing that, but it did concern me. But I thought it's not going to stop me from buying it, because I've ridden motorcycles, and motorcycles never have that trouble where it's fully extended and it hits real hard, like a clanking sound, like a metal to metal sound. So when it does that to me, that's an indicator that something's wrong. So hopefully that can be fixed on their test model, so that people can experience the real smooth joy of what it actually is to ride the scooter, the one they're going to buy, right? So what I did with the steering was, I know you can change handlebars, and they make handlebars that go back, and they come back towards you and everything. But I like to work with what I have first and see how that is. Okay, apologies. I just put my phone on focus so that I don't get interrupted. I don't want this video to get interrupted. I forgot to do that before I started the video. So I like to work with what I have first. I like to say, what do I have? What can I do with it? And then I want to do everything I can with what I have. And then if I still need more, then I go look beyond that, right? So the first thing I did with the handlebars, I said, okay, I like I said, I cut 2 inches off each side. Perfect. I like it. I don't think I would even need to go anymore. I think it's perfect at 2 inches off each side. So Paul at, is it Rider Guide? I think it's Rider Guide YouTube channel. Had it right on when he said cutting 2 inches off each side is what he was going to do as soon as he got his Roadrunner Pro. And it was perfect, because I did that based on what he said, and it absolutely is perfect. It's the perfect length. I did try riding the scooter with the cruise control on, and I just turned it off to manual, so I can still use it, but it has to be manually turned on now. So because what it was doing was, I like the cruise control, but it was engaging, right? When I was riding, it would engage, and then if I want to slow down, I have to hit the brake or tap the throttle, which they don't recommend that. I think the safety book actually recommends using the brake and not tapping the throttle, which makes sense, right? You don't want to accidentally accelerate to disengage the cruise control. So what I did to bring the handlebar closer to me is I turned this around. It was really easy to do, because this has to be put on the scooter anyway when you're first putting it together, right? So I tighten these. I put red Loctite on there. I don't recommend using red Loctite. You should probably use blue, and I think they have an orange, which is supposed to be between the two. And they may even have some other strengths and all in that, but I just use the red. And sometimes I wonder if my red Loctite actually is working, because it doesn't really freeze it up too much. Maybe it's just because the screws are not perfectly clean when I use it. Because if it's not perfectly clean, there's dirt there. It won't make it very hard to loosen. It'll be easier to loosen when you loosen it. But it does help a little bit. So I'm using red on everything. That's just what I do. I don't recommend that though. Again, read on that, because you might have to use heat to get anything off that you use red Loctite on. I just like things to stay tight, right? So these we put on, and this up here has to be put on. Well, what I did was I turned the top around. Okay, I turned the top part around, and then I flipped the handlebars back over again, right? Because if I turn this around, the handlebars will be backwards, right? So I flipped this around. I put the handlebars on normally, like they're supposed to be facing forward. But what that did was it gave me probably around 3 or 4 inches, bringing the handlebars closer to me, which I like that. So let's measure the distance here. Yeah, so this is going about, so it's, yeah, I would say it was about 4 inches, right? Because right now it's going back this way, like from here to here is what? About 1.5 inches, right? From the edge of this to here. And so that was sticking out forward before, right? That was sticking out up here. like right there, where the edge of this tape measure is. So by turning this around, it brought the handlebar closer to me. And then you have this angle too, right? There's this angle going back a little bit as well, which is also adjustable. So where the handlebars are now, by turning that around, it's perfectly comfortable to me. I'm very happy with it. One thing I had to solve, which was a little bit of a challenge because I couldn't figure out what was going on, is the throttle. This might be a little different than it was when I bought it. I think that the brake was above this, so I moved this up and I moved this down. But what was happening was a couple things. One was this, when I put this back on, I had slid it too far in, and the grip was hitting the handlebar and not letting this freely spin, and it was getting stuck, right? So if I go like this, it'll stay there, and I would have to push it forward. And I thought something was wrong with the cable, but I thought, no, it wasn't doing this when I first bought it, right? It was working fine. So when I cut the handlebars, what changed? So I tried sliding this out, and then this freely moved, and then I put the cap in there, and then it did it again. This was getting stuck again. So I pulled the cap out a little bit. Now the cap, you can't see it now, but the cap has a little empty space inside of it. I rolled up some double-sided sticky tape into a ball, and this is Scotch, and it says 3M, right? That's what I use. Anything that has 3M on it, I buy that. Anything that says 3M. When there's a choice, I get 3M, always. I've learned that it's worth paying a little extra for something that's the absolute high quality, right? Just really good, super quality. And I learned that a long time ago. So what I did was I rolled up a ball of that double-sided sticky tape. First of all, I cleaned this with rubbing alcohol, right? Or hand cleaner. I think I use my hand cleaner right here. I think I use this hand cleaner. But rubbing alcohol could also be used. And I cleaned out the grease and oil, anything that might be there on this thing on the inside, and I wiped everything off on this, including the hole that was there. And then I rolled a piece of the double-sided sticky tape up, stuck it inside the hole to push, that way it pushes the part that makes this stay in here, it pushes that out. And then I put one layer of double-sided sticky tape on this, on the outside, and then slid it in there. I pushed it with a screwdriver in there because I know these fall out. They fall out really easily, and they sell nice versions of this. Again, though, I'm working with what I have, and if that gets lost, then I'll buy nice ones. But they sell some on, like Amazon has them. There's a bunch of different models available. There's some aluminum ones, metal ones, different materials, even plastic. But I thought, let me work with what I have first, and so I put the double-sided sticky tape on the inside of this. On the outside, I pushed it in there with a screwdriver. Like I pushed it down and pushed it in, and then I pulled it out a little bit so it's not binding on this throttle. And now, as you see it now, there's a little bit of a space there, and it doesn't get stuck, as you can see, and it's not going anywhere. And if the scooter falls over, it's protected, right? So if the scooter falls over, it's going to fall in this. To me, that's what that's for. I think that's what that's for, so you don't scratch your car if you go by your car. If this falls down, maybe it doesn't scratch up the scooter as bad. This protects it, right? Okay, what else? I'm thinking of what else. Okay, so now anyone that follows any of my videos is going to know I'm always talking about range and power and quality. So, and some of you may have seen me pick up this battery with my pinky. Now, that doesn't mean the battery's light. What I was trying to indicate was, it means I would like to have a battery that I cannot pick up with my pinky. It requires at least 2 or 3 fingers to pick it up. I want a heavy battery. I want my weight to be in the battery, and I want that weight low, right? Because I think it's called center of gravity. When the weight's real low, it just helps the scooter to handle really well. And this weight is low, but I would just like to see a much larger battery, because I rode this scooter. I had a nice ride on it, but I went kind of slow on it, a little bit slow. I was on eco mode, gear 2 or 3, with the power turned down on the front wheel so it doesn't just spin. So I turned the power down on the front wheel. I think it's the amps. I forgot what the number is I used, but I lowered it so that the front wheel will not spin and do a burnout every time I take off, right, on gear 3, 4, and 5, because those gears will just spin the front wheel when you take off. So I lowered the power on the front wheel on all those gears, on gear 3, 4, and 5, and then and that's by going in the advanced settings, by entering passcode 6969. That lets you adjust things like that. And with that done, and then riding on eco mode as well, which actually, yeah, then I rode on eco mode. I primarily rode on eco mode. I would say 80% of the time, and then 20% of the time I used gear number 3, and then 4 I tried a little bit of that, and then a little bit of 5 with the power turned down on the front wheel. But 80% on eco mode, which is just the rear wheel, and then gear 3 for 80% of the ride. And I was able to go like 35 miles or 36.4 miles or 36.6 miles approximately. And because to me I was going kind of slow, I really was hoping to see closer to 50 miles. Now I know 50 miles, that's probably doing closer to 25 miles an hour on eco mode at a steady speed, just guessing, and depending on weight and wind and the hills. But I think this will easily do 50 miles as it's advertised if you're going at a low speed around 20 or 25, probably on eco mode, or just not accelerating fast in the higher power settings on dual motor setting. But the way I like to ride, I'm probably going to get a lot less than that because I got 36 miles and I was riding slower than I prefer. So I'm going to go right to the battery and say I want to see higher voltage. I want to see like 96 volts, 95 volts, right, at least fully charged, which is 82 volt nominal. I'd like to see at least a 72 volt system, which is 84 volts fully charged. At least that, right? Because a lot of the scooters are using the 72 volt nominal, 84 volt fully charged. I would love to see this, at least at 72 volts nominal, 84 volts fully charged, and at least a 40 amp hour battery. I mean, this is a 30 amp hour, and to me, it's just much too small for my preference, right? Because I like to ride a little bit faster, I like to accelerate a little bit quicker, and I want to use both motors, right? But I don't want to lose all my range. To have more range, I need more capacity, I need more amp hours, I need more watt hours, right? Multiplying our volts times our amps will give us our watt hours, our battery watt hours, right? This scooter here, that's why I bought the Dualtron Storm, is because this scooter has like a 3,860 watt hour battery pack, almost a 4,000 watt hour, almost a 4 kilowatt battery, right? And I'm thinking of putting this battery in here as an experiment and seeing how that does. And really, I just love the way this scooter is so powerful and fast. I was thinking of putting just everything in there and seeing how that would be, like putting the controller and the battery together. But the first test would be just to put the battery in there, reprogram this, set this to the higher voltage so that the voltage cutoff works correctly, right? So it doesn't let me over discharge the battery. And then seeing how that is, because it's already going to be faster and more responsive by having higher voltage and having that more powerful battery. And that battery may fit right in there because there's a really big space in there, right? This is a very big space. But it has to be able to fit through here, this back area, which is not the largest area. That's the thing, so I don't know if it'll fit actually because of that. The other option is to run, I have a lot of batteries over here that I've just kept from experimental days, early experimental days, where these are 42 volt batteries, but 2 of those in series would be 84 volts. So I could run 2 of those in series and connect it to the scooter, and I'll have an 84 volt system, 72 volts nominal, and try that. Now this video, I don't know what I'm gonna call this video, because I was thinking of calling it just like an update and my experience of the scooter, but because I'm an experimenter, you're getting to see I'm taking you along the journey of my thought process, which is my mind always wants to think about what else can we do, how can we improve it, how can I make it more. Now obviously I'm talking about myself. When I say improve, this might be perfect for someone like it is. It's probably perfect for most people. And some people might say, oh, the battery's even bigger than I need. It has more power than I need. Everything's more than I need, right? And that's why they have, I think, the V1 and the V2 Roadrunners, right? This is for people that want more. And I'm saying, I want more than this, even more, right? And that's a normal thing. We tend to do that. Even if the scooter went 80 miles an hour, some people are still going to want to say, well, I want it to go 100, right? On the new Roadrunner Pro group, users group, I think it's called, on Facebook, someone was asking, would we want this scooter to be made even bigger and more powerful and faster? I don't know if bigger was the question, but just to be able to be used on the freeways. And I didn't say anything, but I was thinking to myself, yeah, that would be great. It doesn't mean we have to use it on the freeway, but if it could have a lot more range, a lot more power, and all that, everything, and then it's just our choice if we take it on the freeway or not, right? I wouldn't want to use this on the freeway, but I would love if it had the ability to do that, if it had those capabilities. So I probably should have said something on there, but and I if I can find that question where that question was asked, I will go back and state that in there. But Meanwhile, yeah, the scooter's really nice. I like that it's the kind of rims it has. These are the, I think they call them, well, I don't know what you call these rims, but I'm going to call them one-piece alloy rims, even though they split. They're just a big metal rim. I like that kind of rim. I don't like the spokes. I don't like spokes. I prefer this kind of rim. My understanding is my research and study indicate that costs less to make the one-piece alloy rims. Now, these being split rims would cost more to make, right? They're going to cost more than probably just a one-piece alloy rim. This is, I guess you would call these two-piece alloy rims, or three-piece, depending on how many pieces make up the rim. Because I think the motor is part of this rim, right? The motors are in there. So, but anyway, what else? What else is there? I put the shoe on there so it doesn't scratch the floor. Right, so Roadrunner Pro wears shoes in the house. Like I said, I put the handlebars back, so I like that. It allows me to sit. So I sit at the very back here. I sit against this little area. I sit right there, and I can easily reach the handlebars and comfortably ride the scooter. I did put this Wild Man bag. I'm not sure what liter size this is. I don't recall the liter size of it. It kind of looks like it could be the larger one. I don't remember. But you can see just by looking at it, actually what I'll do is I'll measure it for you just in case you like how this fits. And then you can just look at the measurements. But I do think the two sizes are very close to one another. So this looks like it's, let's see. It looks like the length or height is 10.5 inches, right? And then the width this way is 5.5, and then it's probably a little bit less up here because it's 4.5 on top because that's the shape of it. And then how deep is it? It's looks like it's 5 inches deep on its deepest part, and then up here it's about 4.25, right? 4.25 up here because that's just the shape of it. So that's that one. I got that on I bought that on Amazon. I don't recall the exact seller that was purchased from. But many people offer that. I probably just looked for the highest ratings for the best price, right? That's usually what I look for. And then the seller, the people are happy with the seller too. I look for that too. Okay, well, I think that wraps the video up. I do like the front suspension. If they wanted to make the front suspension adjustable where you can tune how stiff or firm or soft it is, I think some people like that. I don't know that I need that myself. The front suspension seems good right now. The back is a little soft. I like it, except that it bottoms out. That's the only thing I don't like. I like how soft it is. I just don't like when it bottoms out. I wish it had more travel. I think that's the word, where it can go further, use more of this space. See this area right here? It feels like it's going to like just a couple inches, right? And if we look in here, you can see that there's just that small area, right? This small area where it can move, which means this can probably only move like that much. But look how much space there is. I would like to see this go at least 6 inches, right? At least 6 inches of travel. And I don't know what it is right now. It seems like it's only a couple inches. Maybe 3, I don't know. I'm just guessing. I don't know how far it moves. I can try to sit on it and see if I can get it to move, and then you guys can see. Let's see if we can see that. Yeah, it's bottoming out there. I don't know if you can see that. I hope you can. But that felt like it was bottoming out, like it was stopping. And as you can see, it's not a real hard, like metal-to-metal clinking bottoming out. It's just kind of a smooth cushion stopping where it stops. Like if there's a stopper there or something, a rubber stopper possibly, that stops it from going any further. And if I could take that out to give myself a couple more inches of travel, I may do that and just maybe put a smaller bushing in there. But some people were saying they wish they could adjust the springs. I'm going to look into seeing if I can get a spacer in here to make the springs even, like put a spacer in there. I know they sell things like that for cars, or they used to, where you can put a spacer in here and it pushes the spring up tighter, right? Because this cannot be adjusted. These don't have, I cannot turn this to make this tighter. I would like it to be able to do that. But here's the thing about that. My preference is for it to be as soft as it is, but just have more travel. So if I replace those shocks, I don't want to get a stiffer shock. I want to get a shock that's just as soft as this one, but has more travel, right? So this metal bar in there will be longer, right? It'll be a longer bar. not so much that this hits here, but look how high that is. I mean, that's a lot of room. So I don't know if anything else would hit, like what the range limits are. I could take these shocks off, have the scooter in the air, you know, on a crate or something, take the shocks off, and then see how far this can move before something hits and where it stops it, right? And then you know, try to get shocks that will allow for that kind of range, right? That should be able to be calculated. I don't know if someone's already calculated that on the group in the Facebook group, the famous Facebook group. I think the person that moderates that group, if that's the word that's used, is he has a YouTube channel. Is it Yogi Steve? It may be someone called Yogi Steve that moderates that channel for the Roadrunner Pro. And forgive me if I'm getting the name wrong, but he said he created the group for people that buy this scooter through his link, is why he created the group, if I understood correctly, but that other people coming on there and sharing as well is fine with him. So, you know, and then people told me about it, and I just bought it directly from the company, and I was recommended to go to that group to learn more about the scooters as well. Someone did say they made a self-charging system on there. A gentleman said that he was able to extend his range on his scooter. I don't know if he did testing to confirm that it was working well, but I just like that he was thinking of, if we say outside the box or beyond, you know, beyond what? Beyond? I don't know. What do we call that? But anyway, so any kind of a range extender I'm interested in, you know, and so I tried to reach out to the person that did that. They never responded to me on Facebook, and they seemed to be preoccupied with people that were attacking him, saying you can't do that, you can't do that. They were engaged with those conversations, but not with me saying, hey, that's really interesting, can we talk about this? Because I wanted to replicate what they did. But I'm doing my own versions of my experiments. I recently learned about a system, and I cannot pronounce the word, but there's a community of people powering their community with the free energy system, and it looks like a Wimshurst machine, and it's the very thing I've been talking about. Like when I see this thing and I spin it and the whole thing's glowing in the dark, right? It's glowing with energy. There's electrons everywhere, just glowing, like spaceships look. It looks like a spaceship, like sideways. And I'm trying to do a long exposure photography. I'm trying to get that worked out so I can show you what that looks like, because it doesn't show on my phone. It's not bright enough, or my phone's not sensitive enough to pick up that light, but I can see it with my eyes. But I was just thinking, can't we put more collectors here? I was just saying that, if for those of you who've been following the channel. And then it's been done. It's been done a long time ago. I don't know when they built this machine, but this community of people built a free energy machine, and they're said that the mature world, I'm using my own words, the mature world is 100% invited to replicate, and if I understand correctly, to replicate, learn about the technology. It's just that they don't want it. They don't want to deal with the drama of, I'm guessing, being attacked by people that just don't have that maturity yet. And I think it's a maturity thing, right? So people choose that for themselves, right? I mean, every day people that are becoming more mature, and I think that's what's going to let everyone understand, you know, more and more of what actually can be done. Not spending time putting something down, but being open to how something can work. See, one of the things about and again, you know, I know this video is about the Roadrunner Pro, but to me, when this scooter exists in a megawatts of sea of energy, right? The Dirac sea, D-I-R-A-C, the Dirac sea of electrons, pure energy, an ocean of energy. I'm interested in pumping that energy into my scooter. And my understanding is that that's already being used to power the scooter in a very small way. Because it's often talked about like it's not, people get the idea that it's not being used yet. And my understanding is that it is. We are using a very little bit of it. And that's what this is doing too, the Wimshurst machine. And these gentlemen built a system that has more parts. It has more. These here go all the way down. It's a bigger machine. I think it's probably a foot bigger maybe. And these go down longer. They're longer. And there's more collectors spread out, right? There's more, it looks like there's more collectors. There's really big capacitors. These are capacitors. These are filled with BBs right there. And this is a beautiful machine. but they used really big capacitors, right? Really big ones. One for the plus, one for the minus. I'm not sure how it's wired, and I'm saying it that way because that's how it looked to me. You have to study this machine for yourself. What I'll do is I'll put a link to it, probably in this video. I'll put a link to some of the material that talks about that system I'm talking about right now. But I'm interested in that technology. I'm interested in doing different kind of experiments with the Wimshurst machine, and also replicating that machine I'm talking about to some degree, or modifying the present Wimshurst machine to capture more of that energy that's all around this, right? What do we have? Counter rotation. Oh, one thing that's interesting is they said one of the plates represents ground to earth and one represents ground to air. I literally imagine connecting one plate, and I'm not sure where it'd be connected. Would it be the neutralizers? Would I connect this neutralizer to the earth ground, and would I connect the other one to an antenna that picks up just, the ambient energy, right? And then let those counter rotate, and then put more collectors all the way around on both sides, and also possibly separating this. See how I'm collecting from both sides on the same piece? I may want to collect from one side in one, I may not want to combine collecting from both sides at one time. I might want to collect from one side on this side, and then collect from the other side with the other, so there's a plus and a minus, right? Right now, is there a plus and a minus? I don't know. I don't know what there is with the Wimshurst machine the way it is right now. I know this thing throws 8-inch sparks, though. 8-inch sparks, right? Let's see if it'll do it right now. Let's see what we can do right now. It's raining right now, so I don't know what this is going to do. Okay, let's bring this up and this down. Okay, it likes the other way. It likes this way. But it's not jumping very far right now. I think that's because dry air does better, and it's raining right now, so. But you see that? That's lightning right there. To me, I'm always thinking about how can I use energy from nature, energy from the environment, to power my scooters. This channel started that way, and it's something I think about, and it's something that I think about every day. I dream about it, I think about it, I talk about it, I do experiments, and to me it's related, On the Facebook group, I was writing some information about my research as it relates to the gentleman that was sharing his self-charging system, and sadly, I think because the person posted so many different posts, they all got deleted except one, and the ones that got deleted is the ones that had most of my writing on there, where I was referring who, if people want to learn more about this, they can study people like John Searle, Thomas Bearden, and I was just naming some books that I've studied and references, but all that got deleted, and it's sad, but I get it, though. I get it. It's like you don't want to spam. They considered it spamming, right? Because the guy was talking about this thing and putting all these posts up. But here's the thing, whether that gentleman's specific system works or not, the important thing to realize is like Richard Feynman and John Wheeler shared with the world, that there's megawatts of energy everywhere in space, everywhere, right here in the palm of my hand. There's megawatts of energy right in the palm of my hand, as well as the space, the 99.9% empty space that is my hand. My hand is 99.9% empty space, right? The space between, subatomic particles, right? So this is the things I think about. This is the things I study. It's all related to me. And it's a very exciting journey of learning, and I love to share it with y'all. So y'all have a great day, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye, everyone.